Hello and welcome to this tutorial for Microsoft Excel beginners. So here we have Excel open with a blank worksheet ready for some data entry, and I'm going to create a new spreadsheet for a small business called Fred's Video Classics, the video rental store. So let's get started, and in cell A1 I'm going to type in the title of the business or the title of the spreadsheet. And as I type, if I make any errors, as I did there, I can just use the back arrow keys or the back delete key to make some corrections. And I'll show you some other ways you can edit as well. I've completed the entry there, and if I decide I no longer want that entry, I can cancel it completely by pressing the escape key, top left of your keyboard. Press the escape key and the entry disappears. So in this case I'm going to have to retype my entry, allowing for any keyboard errors that I make. So there it is entered, and if I'm happy with that, I press the enter key on the keyboard and that confirms the entry. And if I go back to cell A1 with the arrow key, you can see there it also shows up in the formula bar. Now I can edit the entry in the formula bar by just clicking in there and using the arrow keys to go backwards and forwards and delete things, add things back in, and so on. Once I'm happy, press the enter key. Another way you can edit is if you highlight the cell that you want to change, press the F2 key on the keyboard, and that allows you to do in-cell editing as well. And if I press the escape key here, that cancels the edit mode. You can also edit the cell by double clicking, and if I just double click on A1 there, you'll see again it goes into edit mode. I can again use the arrow keys to move back and forth, press the escape key again to cancel. And if you want to remove an entry that's already been entered, you simply select it and press delete on the keyboard. Now in this case I didn't want to delete it, so I now can click my undo button there and return the entry, and I can just click into cell A2 and we can carry on creating the worksheet. So I'm going to enter some more titles here, so I'm going to put the word title in, and that's movie title, as you will see. I'm going to type in rental price into the next cell. Just use a tab key to move across there. Rentals in the next cell, and again tab across, and finally income will be my final entry. Press the enter key, and because I use the tab key to move across, I'm jumped back to the beginning of the next row, ready to enter some movie titles. So my first movie is going to be 2001: A Space Odyssey. Press the enter key, move down. Ben-Hur, and feel free, by the way, if you're working along on your own spreadsheet, to enter your own personal favourite titles. So enter Godfather, press the enter key, and right, okay, I want to show you something here. I've typed the letter C because I want to enter Casablanca, but Excel has recognised that I already have a previous entry that begins with C, and it's offering me the option of having Citizen Kane again, which obviously I don't want in this case. If you were entering a list of information and you got this option to repeat something from a previous entry, to accept that you simply press the enter key and Excel enters the information. Okay, I didn't want that to happen, so I'm going to go back and simply retype the letter C. Again, Excel offers me the option of Citizen Kane. As soon as I type the letter A, the option goes away because it recognises there's nothing previously that began with CA, and I can now continue and enter Casablanca. And I'll just put a few more in to populate the list a bit more, and I think for now that will do. Okay, so I have a few titles there. It's not a very big video shop, as you can see, but the point of that was just to illustrate the entry of text. Now, one of the immediate problems is, of course, the column widths aren't correct. You'll notice, for example, that in cell B2, the rental price, although it shows complete in the formula bar, in the actual cell it's being cut off by the entry in column C. That's not a problem, we'll come back to that later on. And you'll obviously be able to see in column A quite a few of the titles encroach into column B, and so if I enter anything into these cells, it's going to cut off the title. So before I move on, I'm going to expand column A, and I'm going to do that by putting the mouse pointer between the A and B headers there and get the two-way arrow, double click, and that expands column A, as you can see, so it nicely fits all the titles. In fact, it expands to the width of the widest title. So the next stage will be to enter the numbers into my spreadsheet, but before I go and do that, I'm going to save the spreadsheet. And I can use a nice keyboard shortcut you may be familiar with. And if I press the F12 key, function key F12, it brings up the Save As dialog view. I can now simply type in the name of my spreadsheet as the file name, and then just hit the enter key, and you'll notice in the title bar now that Fred's Video Classics appears as my file name. Now from now on, whenever I modify the spreadsheet and I need to save it, I can simply click on the Save button. I can also go to the File tab and choose Save. If I want to save an alternative version, I can choose Save As and give it a new file name but keep the previous one. And I can also use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl and S to save. So there's a few different ways of saving. Pick one you like and stick with it. And so the next stage in building a spreadsheet is to add some numbers. If you have a standard computer keyboard, you've got two options for entering numbers. You can either use the standard number keypad at the top of the keyboard, or you can use the number keypad to the right. And when you're entering lots of numeric information, you may well find that using the number keypad is a lot more convenient and will help you enter information much more quickly. If you're using a laptop keyboard, then obviously you only have the one set of numbers anyway, so you don't have to worry about the separate number keypad. So here we have two columns of numeric information I need to enter, and I'm going to begin by typing the rental price for 2001, and that's going to be 1.95 or £1.95 where I am. Obviously if you're in a different country, then when you apply the currency formatting, as we will do later on, then it will apply the local currency symbol. So I'm going to tab across now into the rentals column, type 5 for my rental quantity, press the enter key, and again, because I use the tab key to move across, you'll see it jumps back ready for me to begin the next row. So it's moved to B4 as opposed to C4. I'll just demonstrate the difference this time. So if I type in there 2.5 for my price, I can use the right arrow key this time. Type 9 for the quantity, and this time press the enter key, and you'll see it simply comes down to the cell below. So it moves to C5. Then I can use the left arrow key to move to the cell I actually want to use next, which is B5. So the next entry, I can type 1.5 as opposed to 1.50. If I type 0, it makes no difference whatsoever. Excel will enter 1.5. If I go back to that cell and you have a look at the formula bar, you'll see it also puts 1.5. So it ignores extraneous zeros. Although when you come to format, you'll see that you can make those zeros appear anyway, so that's okay. So I'm going to tab across this time to C5. We'll enter the quantity for Citizen Kane, put 12 in there. For Godfather, we're going to put £1.95 as a price. Again, just tab across. And 7 for the quantity, press the enter key. 1.95 for Casablanca, again tab across. And put 12 in for the quantity. Wizard Oz, we'll put £2.50. Tab across again. And put, say, 8 in for the quantity. And Rear Window, we'll go back to 1. Oops. Just correct that. Back delete, 0.95. Tab across. And for the quantity here, we will put in 10. Okay, so those are the numbers. In the next tutorial, we're going to start looking at Excel calculations. So thank you for watching this tutorial. Hope you found something useful there, and I'll see you next time.